Welcome to another episode of Greatman Ayilara teaching, where we seek simply to know. Please ensure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, turn on the notification button, and to share with your friends. Welcome to another episode of Greatman Ayilara teaching, where we seek simply to know. Please ensure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, turn on the notification button, and to share with your friends. Hello, everybody, and welcome from all across the globe. And if you're going to be watching us later in the future, you're the people of the future generation. I bring you greetings. My name is Greatman Ayilara, and today, without wasting much of your time, I'm so excited that I have the opportunity to teach, not to answer questions about this, the evolution of action, the evolution of action. You know, many times I get feedback like, okay, this is a new age stuff. This is a new age stuff. Are you a scientist? Are you just knowledgeable? Are you a religious leader? Are you this? And this has nothing to do with either being this or being that. We are just stating the obvious truth. We are seeking to know. We seek just to know. And as many people that accept that they are ignorant, they would forever spend the rest of their lives learning and knowing more. Do not ever, at any point in life, agree that you already know all there is to know. And whatever it is you know, teach others. That is how you know more. Now, what is evolution of action? You realize that as we grow, we begin to have a better approach to several issues in life. Now, when people look at us, maybe before we were very violent and very, very radical, and all of a sudden we begin to take things more calmly, people will say that we are being matured or age is working on us. Now, they could not put that in the right perspective because what they are saying to you is they are expecting you to grow into it. Whereas there are a lot of little people or younger folks who have more maturity, so to say, in human terms, than those who are older. So if age is what determines maturity, then younger people shouldn't have a better idea in life. But that is actually the contrary. It is on the contrary in life. Now, being aware of your spiritual state and what your divine reality is shows you clearly all the things that you have at stake. Now, when you want to take an action now, you begin to think deeply on the consequences. Now, you are not being mindful. Being mindful means that you are thinking wild, you are thinking everywhere. Now, you are being careful, you are being more conscious, you are understanding the relationship between you and your environment. Now you know how to deal with the plant of the field, the tree of the forest, the human with you, and also maybe your spouse, your children, your business partner. Now, what we do here translate or transfer or even transcend into our lives either as a business person, as a teacher, as a spiritual leader, or whatever it is. Now, the evolution of action happens to every mankind in this world, but we just do not know how to really place it. Now, when you begin to become so aware of the energy around you and the consequences of your action, now it helps you to really live life in a more better approach with better understanding. In this life, we have two types of energy, which the religious people will call God or devil. Now, I would always repeat the fact that when the spirit of life, the source of creation, made the whole earth and also other planets, he stepped out of it and allowed it to be governed by principles and law. Now, the principle and laws that governs the planet where we find ourselves is divided into two, the lower energy and the higher energy. Now, the lower energy tends to make use of so much resources to generate power. Now, energy needs power to actually get something done, or energy applies power to a particular thing for it to have a life. Now, this is what the spiritual people, either the Christian people or the Muslim people, they call it devil or God. Now, when you are allowing your body to be ruled or to be possessed by the lower energy, that's where you do some wrong things and you blame the devil for it. Now, the devil is not your problem, and God is not your supporter. I'll say it again, the devil is not your problem, and God is not your supporter. What enables you to do the right thing is your conscious awareness of what might come out of every of your action. And what takes you to the point of doing the wrong thing is because you are yet to be aware of the gravity of the consequences of the things that you are doing. Now, we have the lower energy and also the higher energy. Now, the lower energy will require so much of effort, so much of resources. You want to get angry with someone, you expend so much emotion, so much strength, so much frowning. You kill some of your cells, you give yourself hypertension. You're trying your best to bring to reality what is not allowed to be in this circumference where you find yourself. Do you get the logic now? Now, when you want to do something that human being term as negative, you are allowing yourself to be used or to make use of your lower energy. Now, the lower energy is going to take so much resources from you. You don't need to shout before we get your message. And I'm teaching this because I have been a victim of that before. So emotional, so radical, so everywhere, and all of those things. I was so angry. How can things be like this in Africa? How can human being not get this? What is happening to us? Don't fall into it. And while trying to say the right thing, I was using the lower energy part of me. And because of that, I was actually repelling good people away because they could not understand why is it crazy? Why is it mad? Now you try this with your children at home, even little children. Now they will tell you that they feel it more when you take time to speak to them about the pros and cons of their action. And some of them begin to even cry, not because you are beating them, but because you are taking time to explain to them. Now their higher self is beginning to now become attained. They are moving from the level of their mortality to the level of their divinity. Now they suddenly realize that this is wrong. You are not punishing them by scaring them about a God that will put them in hell or a devil that will deal with them. You are simply allowing them to realize what they are capable of doing, but yet they are shortchanging their standard. Now, some children begin to cry. Some become so sober and so sad. Then words that we say in a more gentle manner carry more weight than the one we say in a very harsh manner. As a matter of fact, these children want to prove you wrong whenever you exert your lower energy by shouting on them and going crazy on them. And the same thing you say don't do is what they go ahead to do. And this nature never leave any mankind even when they are old. Tell people don't go that direction in a very belligerent way, and you realize that that's where you find them. Now, we surely want to change the perspective of our people. We want to help them to seek so that they will know that they are better than what they are right now. Using our lower energy will never make them see reasons with us. Unfortunately, a lot of revolutionary leaders are making use of their lower energy. Now, the Higher energy need little strength from you. It need little effort and little resources from you. Why? Because your the provision for your higher energy is made by the nature, the cosmic forces of nature, the element of the universe around you. Surely people know what is the difference between good and bad, but they don't want you to threaten them or say to them in a way that will further scare them. As a matter of fact, people are willing to embrace destruction when you try to become violent with them. People are easily pushed to their destruction whenever we use our negative or lower energy to talk to them. So while the cosmic force of nature, the universe, and everything that the Creator has made helps you to exert your higher energy, your lower energy requires you to manufacture the kind of strength you need, the right amount of emotion, the right amount of power. You need to now force people to listen. You need to force them to understand. You need to force them to be in place. You need to force them to fall in line. You need to be the one who manufacture all of these things because there is no provision for your lower energy in this world. And your lower energy could be regarded to as your state of mortality, where you walk in your state of physicality. Now, the Christian folks will call this walking in your flesh. They will say you are walking in your flesh. And they often agree or advise that you should walk in your spirit so you do not gratify all the things that the flesh is presenting to you. So when you switch to walking in the spirit, you are walking with your higher energy. Now, you don't need to be the one who produces the needed amount of radiance, the amount of vibration, the amount of frequency that people will now begin to listen to you. They naturally buy into whatever it is that you are saying to them by sitting right. Why? Because now they can see the difference between good and bad without you forcing them to look at life from your own perspective. And this particular energy is being made use of by several religious leaders, several political leaders, and they get to the spot where people now begin to worship them as almost a kind of God. Now they begin to worship them like a creature of high esteem. Now they could see calmness in them, they could see peace around them. Even a violent person want to be close to a peaceful person. Even a bad person want to associate with a good person. A belligerent person want to be in the company of a calmer person. Why? Because that helps them to balance their excesses. And it is a battle of force. Like I said before, the best force will win the race. Now, what kind of force or energy are you supposed to be exerting? What kind of energy are you supposed to be radiating? Now, this is a conscious thing that you do, not by saying, God, I pray to you, come and help me act the right way. No, you don't pray to God to help you behave yourself. You look inward yourself and embrace your divine nature. So when you embrace your divine nature, you will act more responsibly and gradually you step into the place of becoming a divine being, and people always want to see you as a kind of God. Now, you will realize that a lot of the prophet that people follow in this modern age started off from the radical perspective. But as they grow more aware of their divine ability, they became more relaxed. I'm going to take Yeshua of the Christian folks, for example. Now, when he started by calling people brutes of viper, you snakes, you good for nothing generation. He was there in the temple beating people and, messing people up and all of those things because He was consumed with the zeal that, can't you see? Now, that is the initial stage and initial phase of wanting to obtain or attain your spirituality. Now, it happens to everybody. No man was born calm. We often want to approach issue the way it comes to us. So we are peaceful with those who are peaceful with us. We are violent with those who are violent with us. Now you realize that this same prophet, as he grows in his time in this world, he began to teach another thing. And he said, if you give love only to those who love you, you have not gained anything. But when you give to love to those who deserve it, then you are attaining a higher level of your spirituality. And you could see that when he also began to embrace this evolution of actions, you realize it was gaining more audience, gaining more multitude, and people were coming to ask him now. It's now based on how can we do this? What do we do? Now he's not trying to force them to see life from his own perspective. He allowed everybody to come as they are in their weakness, and they are willing to now submit to his teaching because he is now reaching out to humanity from the perspective of the source of life, who do not differentiate between the white and the black, between the belligerent and the violent, between the violent and the calm. He just give love to every mankind. Can you see that evolution of action? From our initial stage of wanting to kill those who kill us, from wanting to pray for them to die, from wanting to take revenge or avenge things from them, to now giving them the excess of our own divine reality. Can you get what I'm trying to say now? Now, it is expected of you to grow in action, in deed, in knowledge, especially in your spiritual voyage towards maturity, because it is until you attain that divine divinity of your reality, you will never be able to affect any life positively. Now, if you keep doing it now from your mortal state, you realize that you are exerting so much energy, you will become so depressed. You finish talking, people give you round of applause and they praise you, but when you get to the corner of your room, you are exhausted because you are allowing your own self to produce the energy needed, whereas the resources is available in the universe for you to make use of only if you approach it from the angle of your higher energy. Now, your higher energy puts you in the pedestal of an immortal. Now, what you are doing is that you are drawing resources not from yourself, not the one you produce, but from the source of life himself. From the source of life himself. Now, in this life, things will happen. The things that happen to you in life, people call it fate. They say maybe the source of life has destined some people to be poor, while it destined some people to be rich, while this, while that. No, the source of life does not know the difference between evil and good. All it did was to give us the mind to take actions. And whatever action we take comes with a consequence or a reaction. Now, if you do what is good, you get a good reaction from life. You do what is evil, you get the bad reaction from life. That is not dictated or done by the source of life, which you call God. That is dictated by your own action and your decision to do this or to do that. Now, whatever it is that you do as a person, you must put into consideration that a lot of people will be affected by your own singular action. Now, for instance, a mother loves to curse the child. Now, curse is a negative profession over a person's life or a non living thing. You can try. You can speak some negative words to a particular dog or pet for some time and see them manifesting because our words carry power, and we have the ability to also create things with the word we say. Now, a mother that is always speaking the negative things to a certain child is not doing it only for herself. While she's doing it to relieve herself of the pain that the child is causing her, she is also creating a kind of life that the child will grow up to manifest, because that is all he could hear. You will not amount to anything. You can never become someone in life. You can never do this. You can never do that. Now that begins to take root in the DNA and the hormones and the tissue and the flesh of that boy or that girl, such that even if they try to throw told a good path in life, your world keep dragging them back. Why will your world keep dragging them back? Because they believe that you have a hold on them. Now, when you are old and there is no child to take care of you, you are also affected. Aside the fact that a child, if he or she excel, could be useful to the community, to several other people, you have stopped those people it could be useful to from getting usefulness from the child with your word. You have denied a lot of millions of people of the goodness that life had to offer through that boy by doing a negative confession. Now, it is your action that is bringing about that negative reaction to other people, especially to that boy's life. And I've not seen a parent who is pretty much happy that the child is not turning out well in life. In consequence, you also suffer for every single word that came out of your mouth, either in the past or right now. So, what the universe allows you to do is to give you time to either negate the negative words or to keep building on it. So, what you call nemesis or karma is the result of your own creation, the result of your own creation. In this world, whatever it is that we have decided to do, it's like an information or a data that is being supplied into a machine called life. And after being executed, it gives us the result. Knowing that it is not a matter of age or maturity now, it is a matter of being aware of what you are capable of creating in your mortal state, using your divine inherent ability. Now, when you discover that as a spiritual being who is reaching towards spiritual maturity and divinity, if I say a thing, it can come to reality. Now you begin to become more conscious of what you say and more careful of how you relate with people. That is evolution of action. Now you are not thinking the way everybody think anymore. You no longer react the way everybody is reacting. Your words are now seasoned with grace, so to say. The way you now melt back action to people is different from what they are expecting. Because why? You now know better, not because you are necessarily older now, but because you have the consciousness of your spiritual state, knowing that anything you say, you do comes back to you, either directly or indirectly. You get the explanation of that evolution of action. Now, things will happen to us, not because that's the way the source of life wanted it, but because that's the way other people have chosen to react. Now, whatever it is that you are going through right now is as a result of someone's action, not some kind of fate, FATE, or some kind of God trying to test you. Someone did not put money where it should be. So there is no electricity in your country. That is not the will of God for you. That is not how the source of life wanted it to be. It is someone's action. Because that person's action is still in the state of mortality, they have not transcended to the place where they think that if I am put in a public office, then I should reflect my divine reality by doing what is right to the people or general populace. They chose to be selfish and they embezzle the money. Now, what happened there is their own singular action is becoming the reality of so many people, not because that is the way the source of life wanted it to be, but because that is what mankind chose to make happen in this planet. Now, what about the example of war? People wars because God wanted people to die a miserable death. Now, people who believe in apocalyptic and Armageddon and the end of the world and all of these things do not even understand the mindset of the source of life. Those are not part of the plan of the source of life. If the world will come to an end, you and I will have to cause it. If the world will keep rolling, tell it. You can check one of the teaching I did on will the world come to end? Will the world come to end? Now, people die in war because one man wage war against another country. Maybe because to show the military prowess or to actually show that he's arrogant or to exhibit his tyranny. So his own singular action will lead to the death of lives in their millions. Not because that is how God wanted it to be, but because that is how man chose for it to be. Now, it is covetousness that will make some set of people go into another people's country and say, our God told us to wipe off everybody here, even the suckling child and all the animals. That is not the will of the source of life. A king wanted to get more land, and so he killed the people in those lands and took it back. That has nothing to do with the hand of God. So those many things that we call the act of God are actually the actions of men. Now it is now left to us if we want a good world or a better world to now metamorphose from our mortal state and our mortal way of thinking into our divine reality, where we would look at the consequences of our action on other people first before ourselves, before we act. Now that great prophet was saying, he said, do unto others what you would like others to do to you. But I was read by hypocrite 300 years before Christ came. He said that do unto others how others wanted to be done for. Now, if you are doing to me how you want me to do to you, I don't even know if you love yourself enough. So please ask me, how do you want me to treat you? And treat me exactly the way I have told you to treat me. Don't imagine or think that you know me better and you know what is good for me. Always confirm. Now, you are now beginning to exhibit your highest form of divine reality. When people's situation is put into consideration before you now begin to think of your selfish motive. Things happen because people make things happen. The things we call circumstances, life, event, fate happen because some people chose to stay in their mortal phase of life. Now, what we now get from other people's decision is now left to our own reaction to that situation. That it does not matter what happens to you, how you react to it is what matters. Now, when good things happen to you, make good things happen to others. That is a good reaction. You have become metamorphosed from paying back good with evil to paying back evil or good with good. Now, when bad things happen to you as a result of other people's reaction, if you have metamorphosed or you have evolutionalized your own action, you will be meeting their evil with goodness so as to do what? To neutralize the reign of terror. Because when they bring evil and you also return it back with evil, what you are doing is you multiply evil in the world. That is where we have not gotten the concept of love in its entirety. It is not because you are a fool. Never think that you are a fool for being the one who chose to neutralize the reign of terror. Think of yourself as a kind of Messiah who have been put in this world to save it from going down. And that is where your highest form of reality in divine nature comes in. Now, your action determines other people's result. When they pass evil to you, you evil to them, you are going to make evil go round. When they pass evil to you and you pass goodness to them, you are showing that you have grown beyond your age and you have gone past your state of mortality. Now you are a better person than that other person. And that is what it means to shine your light. So when you shine the light, those in darkness have no choice but to surrender their darkness and submit to your light. And now, in conclusion, do not ever think that being violent is necessarily evil. If you deny the violent part of you, that shows that you are hypocrite. A lot of people are very gentle in the open, but when they come home, they are violent. Some people are very gentle in their words and in their action, but in their thought, they are very violent. They're looking at you and they wish you can just die. Some are very gentle in their thought, but the way they pass across their message, they are very violent in their words. So they use terms that are still lower in form of their divine reality. They exert so much lower energy, produce so much emotion, and at the end of the day, they get nothing pass across at the end of the day. Even a very violent person wants you to deal with them with calmness. So a very arrogant man is looking for a humble wife. A very domineering wife is looking for a very calm husband. People are always looking for the brighter side of life. Be the one who offer the world the healing that is needed. When you want to exert your violence, make sure that you don't exert it on others. Exert your violence on yourself alone. Surely you need violence in your life too. Rarely I say to you that you need violence in your life. You are in a particular place and you ought to be in another place. It is your own duty to be violent in moving from where you are to where you are supposed to be. Be violent with your mind. It is always wandering around thinking of the things that you don't want. Violently snatch your hand from evil thought. The reality you don't want to live in, do not apply your mind to it. When your mind keep going to the things that you don't want to experience, you can make use of your violent part at that time. Now, no circumstances must allow you or warrant you as a seeker to use your violent gift on other people. Only use your violence on yourself. And when you make use of the violence on yourself, you become a better person. You really want to achieve a dream and you are being lackadaisical. You procrastinate a lot. Make use of your violent self to get the result that you are looking for. You are cultivating a very bad habit. You want to be in line. You want to shed it off. Be violent in making sure that you achieve what you have set for yourself. Don't ever be violent on others. It is not easy. Surely sometimes your mortality might want to display itself. Learn to be conscious and be careful. The moment you can get this in place, your journey towards spirituality and your seeking becomes complete. Because now you are not trying to change others to think like you think. You are living your life the way you want others to think, and you will need to teach them before they come to your lives. Now, violence is good, except you use it to yourself. Violence is good as long as you use it on yourself to better your life, not on other people. And some people say, okay, when my evolution of action goes from you must take it, we no go agree, we must do it, to why don't you let us do it? Does that mean I'm a gentle person? It doesn't necessarily mean that you are a gentle person. Does that mean you are meek? It doesn't mean that you are meek. Does that mean you are humble? It does not mean you are humble. Does that mean you have attained your divine spirituality and reality? It doesn't mean so. It just means that you are now getting aware of what is expected of you as a seeker. There are a lot of people who are gentle in this world because they don't have a choice. So many people don't have a choice. They wish they could kill their employer, but because it's the one feeling there, they just have to be gentle and humble. They wish they could walk out of their marriage, but because they have no financial ability, they just want to take it in and be gentle. Now, gentleness does not necessarily mean that you have attained your spiritual level or your highest level of divinity. No, it is when you act according in a line of peace and not allowing your emotion or your feeling to dictate your action for you. That's when you have attained the level of evolution of action. It costs nothing to be a better person. It costs nothing to neutralize the evil in the world. It costs nothing to live in peace and harmony with other people. Now, for every single leader who have actualized who understood fully and have maximized the evolution of action. Those leaders, we see them as have transcended into spirituality. Mahatma Gandhi is one of such leader. Is one of such leader. What peace cannot get, violence will make it worse, he once said. What you cannot pass across to people with your utmost sense of responsibility, mind in place, and peace. When you use violence, you make things worse. People get so irate and they even do things that you never planned for. They do things that you never planned for. I tell you this story as I leave you now. There was a man who is a prophet. He taught so many ideologies that work for people. He had this disciple. Let's give the disciple's name John. Now, John served his master very well. And one day, the master attained the highest level of divinity by dying. And John said, I will take the gospel and the teaching of my master to the Western world. And before he went, he had to go to the widow of his master and say, Mama, I would like to take the message of my master to the Western world to teach them. The mama was cooking in the kitchen in the firewood with the firewood. She pretended as if she's not listening to John. She kept cooking. And when he said again, Mama, I would like to take the message of my master to the other world. Then the widow of his master, of his late master, said, would you please give me that cutlass? And John took the cutlass and gave it to the woman like this. Not like this. Not like this. Not like this. He gave it. He is a certain kind of gentleman, and he gave it to the mama like this. And the mama said, now you can take the message of your master to the other world. Being a very observant person, John asked, Mama, you never have a need of that cutlass. Why did you ask? There is no grass to cut. There is no wood to break down. Why did you ask for the cutlass? And Mama said, I did not need the cutlass. I just wanted to see how you would give me the cutlass. I haven't given me the cutlass like this. Give the world the message of your master with the same attitude. Don't force it down their throat. Don't do it belligerently. Don't entertain violence. You will be angered. You will be frustrated. You will be tested. Propagandas will come around your name. You will be blackmailed. You will be annoyed. You will be angry. You will be in your lowest point of mortality. But remember the way you gave me this cutlass. Give the world that message. And before you know it, they will come to understand the mindset of your master. And the John took the message to the uttermost part of the world. I am that John today. And I chose to give you the message in a way that you will understand. Either you are a Christian, either you are a Muslim, either you are a traditionalist, either you don't even understand if the source of life is really the source of life. I give you the message this way because of evolution of action. And I give it to you to determine what you will do with it. I leave you with this word. The truth can only be given to people, but what people do with the truth, we cannot determine. And in giving the truth, give it without engaging your lower energy. Give it without engaging your mortality. Always give it on the pedestal of love, of your highest reality of divinity. And those who will accept it will accept it. Let time, season, do the work. Thank you very much for listening today, and see you some other time. Remember, you can send in your inquiries, your mails, your questions to greatmanayilara@gmail.com, greatmanayilara@gmail.com, and you can also follow our social media at the Greatman Ayilara, both on YouTube, on Facebook, and also on IG. If you are a newcomer, you can please do press the subscribe button and especially the alarm button at the right hand corner there. If you check the banner of this particular YouTube channel, you see how you can be a partner with us in Crystal Love Support Foundation, where we practice what we preach and we define love in its practical state to people. Thank you for listening. See you some other time.
Ensure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, turn on the notification button, and to share with your friends.